Incredibles 2 is finally here after 14 years of not getting a sequel and getting 3 Cars movies that nobody asked for and nobody wanted, when we all really just wanted a sequel to The Incredibles, and we all asked for it. Incredibles 2 focuses on the same family, picks up right after the first Incredibles movie, and in this one, Elastigirl has to go on a secret mission while leaving Bob home with the kids and him having to care for the kids, but she gets entangled in a web of deceit, and it's all up to the rest of the family to go and save her. That's basically what I'm going to say about Incredibles 2. Now, The Incredibles. I love that movie. I recently rewatched it for the first time since childhood, maybe about 6 months ago, and I rewatched it again yesterday. That movie is fantastic. It is phenomenal. Now, it's inevitable that a sequel is probably not going to match up to it, and this sequel really doesn't. But at the same time, dude, The Incredibles 2, this is what we wanted. We asked for it. We got it. It's fun. I really like this movie. I was digging it. It's a very good, great movie. Not perfect, but good. And that made me happy. After 14 years of anticipation, we got a great Incredibles movie. Let me rephrase that. Great Incredibles sequel. So, what did I like about this movie? Well, it's the family dynamic. I like how the roles are kind of reversed, where it's like, oh, the father, Bob Parr, he's got to be the one that's got to take care of the kids. Elastigirl's going off on her little mission. I thought that was a really interesting dynamic that Brad Bird went with, and it really added a lot of layers to the movie. The action sequences, there's a lot more in this sequel, a lot more this time around, lots of fun. And I gotta give it up. Jack. You thought there was 2 less of him in the first movie? Dude, Jack steals the show. That baby, that is the coolest baby ever made. I mean, this does what I want a Pixar sequel to do, and that is just maybe not be as good as the first one, but keep me entertained for 2 hours, Just make it a fun ride. And this family is so fun to watch. I love watching this family fight crime. One big theme that I noticed with this movie while watching it was the theme of whether or not superheroes are relevant. There's that whole thing with the government made superheroes illegal. And then there's the whole thing where it's like, how are superheroes seen in the public eye? How are they seen in the government's eye? There's that whole dynamic, and all of that meshes very well together with what Brad Bird was trying to go. And he does a really good job piecing those things together in this movie. Brad Bird himself has really just kind of stated that this is a popcorn movie, and to an extent, it is. This movie does have its problems. One in particular is the villain. I thought the villain was predictable. I guess who it was right when it showed up. I like the villain's plan. It's just kind of what this movie ultimately feels like to me is just kind of a rehash of the first one, where it's like, oh yeah, you have their little thing at the beginning, and then it's like, oh well, in the first one it's like Mr. Incredible went off on this mission, he left Elastigirl home to care for Dash, Violet, and Jack, and then in this one it's like kind of reversed, and then it's like, oh well, we gotta go save Mr. Incredible, oh well, we gotta go save Elastigirl. So it's kind of the same thing, it's kind of just a rehash. I mean, that's probably the safest way to go. I think it's a sequel that played it safe. Thank God it is a sequel that doesn't get too convoluted. Thank you. For once, we have a sequel that isn't convoluted. Thank you. This movie's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I really love the first one. I don't love this movie, but I really, really, really like it. I love it as a movie in 2018. It's one of my favorite movies of the year. I can't quite get it to the perfect score that I was hoping to get it to and that I would give the first Incredibles movie, but I am going to give The Incredibles 2 an A. Guys, that's my review of The Incredibles 2, or Incredibles 2, minus the. Just Incredibles 2. I will leave all my links for my social media accounts in the description below. I will leave the link for our podcast. Doing a podcast with my buddy Dwayne. He runs the Cinemania page on Facebook. We are doing a Cinemania World podcast. We have 4 episodes and some mini segments up on there right now. You guys can check that out over on Podbean. We will work on getting that on iTunes as well. You guys are the best. thank you for watching. My name is Alex Madden, a certified G and a bona fide stud.